A change in San Francisco. Again, if you missed the top of the show, it looks like they're going to tinker here, the San Francisco 49ers. I think the press conference is happening right now in real time, but Steve Wilks is out as the 49ers defensive coordinator. So some late game mismanagement. You heard Romo on the call, issues with the way Wilks was handling the defense in that late game. And apparently King Kyle Shanahan approves and agrees because Steve Wilks out as the 49ers defensive coordinator after a year. So Saleh went to the Jets, and then D'Amico went to the Texans. Wilks doesn't get the Carolina Panther job after doing a hell of a job as an interim. He takes the defensive coordinator position with the 49ers for 1 year, and King Kyle has decided he gone. So Kyle has a lot of splaining to do in his press conference today, and he was asked, big guy, about whether or not he feels pressure winning the big game, correct?
Oh, about the narrative on surrounding him and his team is that they can't get it done and they can't win the big game.
I mean, you'd love to fix perception because I would love to win one for what I know about football and stuff. And I know if I fix perception, that means I did everything I wanted to do, which isn't fix perception. It's win a damn Super Bowl. But I also know, like, when you say big games, like, we've got to win a bunch of big games to get to Super Bowls. We've won a lot of big games here. We've won a lot of big games to get into playoffs. The fact that we keep getting there shows you guys how much we've been win games or big games, and I think you guys are aware of that. But it's, these 2 Super Bowls have been tough, losing to Kansas City. But to think that if we win that means I can win a big game. No, that means our team won the Super Bowl.
Okay. Well, I don't think it's crazy for him to sit up there during a postseason presser after losing the Super Bowl and giving his resume. I mean, I think that's what most people would do across any vocation, so that's what he did. He's not going anywhere. Again, Andy Reid was in Philly for 14 seasons. Yes, he got to Super Bowl. He got to unlimited NFC championship games, but he could never get over the hump. That was he had the same moniker as Kyle Shanahan, like a dude that won a ton but just couldn't get over the hump. And then he goes on to Kansas City, and voila, he gets potentially the greatest quarterback, and we're going to hear from Patrick Mahomes here in a second. Is he the greatest in his own words as compared to Tom Brady? Mahomes has a thought, but Reid, 60-plus, grabs Mahomes and has now won 3 championships. So it's not unthought of that, again, the Kyle Shanahan, me saying it's a fireable offense to not have his team prepared for overtime. Look, I just think the guy's overrated as a coach in game. I think he dazzles people with his play calling. And schematically, he absolutely dazzles people. We always say the pre-snap candy that he gives you. He keeps defenses on edge. He's done a lot with Garoppolo. He's done a lot with Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant. But again, you can't look past the past. And the past is this. In 2017, the quarterback whisperer, he passed on Patrick Mahomes, and he, along with management, trust me when I tell you Kyle Shanahan has just as much say as John Lynch when they're picking the groceries. They decided to give up a bunch of assets to grab Trey Lance. Now, it wasn't punitive. It didn't hurt the team in the long run because they are set. Right now, DraftKings has the 49ers in the market at 5.5 to 1 to win a championship next year. And that's because most of the big tickets, most of the big names on that team, they're coming back. They don't have a ton of free agents. They've got some flexibility. Now, the cap's a little rough. They've got 11 picks coming up in the draft this spring. They're going to be just fine. And, this idea all of a sudden that Brock Purdy was the issue. Well, we can't have it both ways. Like, either he's a genius that gets more, Kyle Shanahan, out of lesser than quarterbacks, or he's not. And so if we're going to point to an all-star cast around Brock Purdy, who played a hell of a game. I don't know what people are watching to think that he didn't step up in the Super Bowl. Brock Purdy was exquisite. Is he Patrick Mahomes? No, maybe nobody else is. However, Purdy wasn't the problem. There were many problems. You just heard Travis Kelce cackling at the idea. His whole entire sideline was laughing and felt re-energized when Kyle Shanahan took the ball in overtime. So, again, he's going to be fine. It's year 7 in San Francisco. He's got a long runway. He's got a lot of job security with that franchise. He's not going anywhere. And even as somebody that's crushed the dude, I don't think he deserves to go anywhere. He's a great coach. He's just not the anointed one. We talk about McVay. We've talked about even what LaFleur's done in a short period of time there with Green Bay. He's just not, LaFleur aside, he's not McVay. He hasn't proven to be Sean McVay, that being Kyle Shanahan.